Yeah, man.
KF2 is gone, bro.
Yeah, I love it, man. Let's go live. Let's go live. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Um, man, special episode tonight, Chizzy. We're live in effect with my
Mm.
main man, 100 grand. Chizzy, man. Say what's up to the people, man.
Hey, what's up to the people? What's going on, man? It's good to be here. It's always nice to be able to just sit and chat with my brother. Normally we got, a guest, but it's nice when me and him just chop up, man. He's a busy guy. I want to let the people know this guy is extremely busy. It's my man, 100 grand. So I'm always honored to just take at least an hour out of his day to just chop it up with your boy, man. So I
Yeah,
definitely.
and we were just shouting out, man, King Noel, man. He is our tech support, our manager, our social
Mm.
media director. But man, K Noel is a absolute beast, man. If you don't know, you know. He manages Chizzy brand, he's managed my brand, he managed the Boy Man King podcast.
It's awesome,
He's
man.
in high demand. He got to hire staff, man. Shout out to K Noel, man.
Shout out to K Noel, man. Listen.
He got the juice like he pushed Bishop off the roof. Man, my man be killing it, man. But yeah, back to this episode, Chizzy.
Yeah,
Chizzy and I have been friends for almost 20 years.
many
Um,
years. Yeah,
and we navigated life together. I think what's dope about this point, our relationship didn't start here. Our relationship started on the court,
yeah,
morphed into the community,
yeah.
and just then we became brothers. Like, you know what I mean? He's the godfather of my children, man. He took my daughter to get her nails done today. So like we're really family. Like I don't think a
Sure.
lot of people really know like we're like real family.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
he's been to my wedding, been to my vow renewal. Like it's my brother, man. So I was sharing with him. We was having a conversation today in preparation for tonight,
Mhm.
and he was like, "Man, what we gonna talk about tonight?" I was telling him about, man, as black men, I wanna go here with you, Chizzy. Like, turning 40, I'm having all these thoughts, bro. Like, I'm having all these thoughts. I was blessed to be in South Africa.
Yeah,
And so I'm saying, man, my birthday's coming up for my 40th. When I was a younger man, I'm like, man, if I get to 40, it's a big party because
party.
I didn't really have a lot of plans for after 40. I didn't, I'm in my culture, it was like a big accomplishment as a black man to even make it to 40. And so I was like, we celebrating, man. I'm like, man, and I'm gonna get bad and bougie. We on the yacht.
Mm.
We dressed in white. We in Miami. We going to Bermuda, coming back on the yacht. Like, like my top 20, my inner circle, man. We lit. But as I'm in South Africa and I'm reflecting on my life and I'm in Cape Town and I'm in this villa overlooking the ocean, I'm saying to myself, yo, Crump, you know what? I'm already blessed. My
Yeah,
wife
right.
is here with me. My children are here with me in Cape Town, South Africa. And at that time, 2022, that was like the 10th country or 10th trip, something like crazy that I've been on that
Yeah,
year, coming
yeah.
back off of COVID. And I was like, I've learned so much. I developed so much. I want to bless people. Hence the King Conference. Me being the
What better
King
way?
coach and Boy Man King platform, we were just like, for my 40th, I just want to bless people and give them a lot of game. People were so blessed, they demanded that we run it back for next year. And so we're super excited.
Yeah,
Me and my boy Chizzy and the
yeah.
Boy Man King podcast proudly presents second annual Boy Man King Conference, April
Hmm.
20th, here downtown Atlanta. Chizzy, man, what do people need to know about the King Conference?
So let me just start from King Kong, the first time when we first did it last year, right? It was your
Yeah,
40th. I don't know if you were thinking this. I know what my plan was for King Kong moving forward. You may have said this is just going to be your 40th celebration. I'm gonna do a conference, but I knew after the conference, and we had such an amazing experience. We did a live Boy Man King podcast. We had you speak, Jeremy spoke. Um, it was amazing, and so in the car, we was just like, bro, we gotta do this every year. And this is
yeah,
something that we need. This is something that our culture needs. This is something that Black men need. We had breakout groups that were amazing. Brothers were talking about the experiences they had with their significant others, that they struggle with in spirituality and life. And we got down to the nitty gritty of what it means to be a man just in that small circle. And a lot of us were like, yeah, we need more time to really, really deconstruct and have an open dialogue and conversation and understand and learn from each other about this life journey. I know, so for me, it was secured in my mind that this has to be an annual thing. And we talked about it in car. He was like, for sure, 100%. We definitely are going to do it again. Here we are, 2024, King Khan. It's going to be bigger. It's going to be better. It's
Yeah.
going to blow minds because, you know, we often, you've been to conferences before where it's a lot of talking heads, and you really, really don't get an opportunity to really, really talk with people in an intimate setting. And that's what I loved about it last year. I know it's going to be better, amazing this year. We got a lot. Should we tell a little bit about?
Well,
We,
I think let's talk a little bit more about last year some more in the sense of like I didn't know how it was going to turn out. I had a vision idea, and then boom, I'm using off the base, but what came away that people loved.
Yeah.
Okay, the speakers were great. Teaching people about what men are dealing with, the breakout session, and the intimacy. Like
Sure.
those were things that are going to be stalwarts for
Yeah.
what we do. So we're only having limited tickets, 100 people only, and an
Mhm.
intimate setting, and still giving education, right? When you're going to get the game, still giving you those intimate breakout groups to
Yeah.
have a rich conversation about what you're processing and what are you getting and how you're going to apply it, and keeping it where the vibes is low and personal, and it's not thousands of people running all over the place at a convention center. It's still going to
And
be one day in like a living room style vibe, but it's
yeah, man.
live all day, man.
And I think people loved that part about it the most, man. I know in talking to people post conference, it's like, man, it's so much I wanted to say that I didn't get to say, that I didn't get to do, but it was so therapeutic and enriching to sit there and listen to people around the circle just talk about experiences, and they saw themselves in a lot of people's experiences, and they gained an understanding and knowledge, and they gained a lot of healing moments. It just in those, and we weren't in the groups alone, maybe our tops,
Mhm.
but it was an amazing opportunity to really, really just talk with people and learn about their experiences. So I'm excited about that part. Now, we're gonna do our thing as a live on Boy Man King, but I'm more excited about being in those intimate settings, in those groups, and being able to talk to everybody and sort of guide a process for support there.
If you're a man, Chizzy, why do somebody really needs to come? Like, if you any man, any level, any status of life, why do you feel like they need to come to the King Con?
I think they need to come to King Kong because oftentimes we see men in one facet. So you're talking about the earner, the provider, the strong guy, this guy that doesn't really look out for self. He's so much to so many people. And what King Kong does and did, especially for me and other brothers, was you get a chance to just sit down and just breathe a sigh of relief and be at peace and be vulnerable and know that the people in that room are non-judgmental, and you can really have honest and open dialogue about the stuff you struggle with. Because most of the speakers, all the speakers that speak that kind of lead up to the breakout groups, share their intimate and their soft spots and the things that they're challenged with, and that breaks the ice for you to feel like I can come in a circle with complete strangers and
Come
just be
on.
open and honest about these things that I struggle with, and know that I can have resources, and these are people that I can share an experience with. So I think for all brothers, you gotta be there. I know sometimes we don't want to be vulnerable, and we think, we gotta be uptight. But man, I encourage brothers and sisters, let me say, to come through and have that experience. It is second to none to just be in that space, man.
Yeah, and I want to speak to that part, right? One thing that stood out to me, Chizzy, in the work that I've been doing with men and personal development, it was like, man, I've been blessed to nurture and develop men for Chizzy 13 years. It's part of work that I do. But all the space that I've been doing it with men is either been one-on-one or men only private groups. And one of the things that stood out to me a couple years ago is like, yo, women got to be like, they don't have to like tell us what to do. They don't have
Yeah.
to interrupt, but they need to learn
Yeah.
because they don't actually know all of these battles we're fighting. And then they're bringing in their world, they're bringing in their challenges, but they're missing a huge paradigm, a huge vantage point of what a man is dealing with. And so for me, it was like I started to do little tests, like go to restaurants and two women at the bar. I started sparking up conversation, and man, they were just like, "Yo, I didn't know that." And then what was crazy, we was recording episodes for Boy Man King. We went out to dinner, took the staff out, and my wife and Deani was there, and I'm explaining what men go through. And my wife and Deani was like, I didn't know men go
Good
through all
no.
that. So it
Yeah.
was like, that was like such confirmation. I'm like, how did my own wife don't even? I'm like, bro, we don't have enough conversation where
True.
men and women understand fully each other and
Mhm.
what we're dealing with so that we can better prepare ourselves on how to relate to one
Yeah.
another. And so for
Yeah.
me, it's been such a thing about gender war and the passport bros and the
Mhm.
boss chicks and the men versus women energy, bro. And I'm just like, bro, I'm over it.
Yeah.
We both need each other, and there needs to be a intentional effort of coming to the minds to sit us both down in a room and
Sure.
listen and learn. To sit.
Listen. So if you want to listen, if you want to learn, male or female, excuse me, this is the prime location for you to be on April 20th downtown at King Kong, because you're not only gonna, you're gonna leave that space knowing that these brothers, us, what we do and how we do it is special. And I know for a fact you're gonna want to be a part of anything that Boy Man King that has going on, anything that Chris Crumpler and the game plan has going on, anything that Winnie Coach has going on, man. Because I can tell you with a certainty, I have never experienced this level. Like you, I've been doing this work for a long time, for a
Mm,
long time. And like you said, oftentimes it's an isolated conversation between women having a conversation with women,
come on.
man having a conversation with man. Sometimes we come together in therapy if you choose that route to have a conversation with a mediator, but never once do you get to sit in a group atmosphere. And of course, this may happen in other places, but in this environment, by us, it's important and it's life changing to sit across the room and say even women that you don't know share their intimate moments about what they struggle with and have their partner sit in the space and be like, I never thought about it that way.
Mm,
I know I actually get to listen and hear what she says, and
mm,
vice versa, man. So it's a very 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 genuine space that we try to cultivate, and I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm excited.
yeah.
I'm super
Yeah.
excited.
And this is something that we as a platform, man, we just want to say thank you to all of our supporters and listeners of the Boy Man King podcast. You guys have been supporting us and giving us comments and
Mhm.
emails, DMs, and all the guests that we're having. Like it's been such a me and Chizzy talk about whether it's one, Chizzy says all the time, whether it's one or a million, we're
Yep.
gonna do this work. But here's a chance for everybody to see us in person.
Sure.
But the only reason why we're giving our subscribers this first inside information because there is limited seating. There's only 20 VIP. There's only 80 general admission. That's it. The venue cannot host anymore. We
And we
already,
don't want it to be. We want to keep that intimacy. You know what
yeah.
I
And
mean?
here's the thing: we know it's gonna sell out. So the
Yes.
reason why we're doing what we're doing is because we already know it's gonna sell out, and so we want you guys. This is a time. This is an event you don't want to wait because it's not like I'm giving. And I want to be clear. I'm doing some marketing strategy to say if once the first 100 go, I'm gonna add some more seats. This is it. There's
Yeah.
20 VIP and there's 80 general admission, and that's it. So make sure you subscribe to the wait list of the kingconference.com. The details will be in the description. It's going to
Yeah.
be in our bio. It's going to be on our platform. And as soon as the tickets drop, which will be very soon, you're gonna
Mhm.
want to purchase those tickets, man. Chizzy, man, let's talk about we talk about the work we've been doing, but kind of tell the people recently, like just the work you've been putting in, what you're working on, your platform on the couch with Chizzy. Like, tell the people what you've been working on, man.
Man, I'm endeavoring to continue my own educational journey, getting my master's so that I can have the necessary gravitas to speak and to really, really give support to men in this particular space. So part of what I'm endeavoring to do is to establish a community of men through my platform, through my weekly postings of On the Couch. On the Couch simply just means men taking time to step back and take time for self and look at themselves in a therapeutic way and say, hey, I am a priority. There are things that I need to do for myself so I can advance myself first, spiritually, professionally, financially, emotionally, so that I can be a better version of myself for my family, for my friends, for the people around me. On the Couch is starting off as a movement. So in the upcoming future, you're going to see branding. You're going to create a space, a community where brothers, once you see that On the Couch branding and logo, you know that and this individual has taken a conscious decision and made a conscious decision to really make themselves a priority and enhancing and developing into that king that we all know that most men have the opportunity to do so. So I'm excited about that. So aside from me endeavoring to get my master's in counseling psychology, so I can provide services for a cohort of men, you will also get to have a community and be in a community of other men who are endeavoring to just be the best versions of themselves, man. So just continue to look out for my clips on Instagram, on TikTok. I'm super, super excited, man. This 2024 year is gonna be amazing, not just for the coach, for Boy Man King, for the game plan, which I'm sure my boy's gonna talk about in a little bit,
Yeah,
man. So yeah,
yeah,
man, just keeping it progressive, keeping it spiritual, and keeping it God-centered, and trying to really, really zone in on those on those positive routines and intentionality that's necessary to get all of us where we need to go. And I'm just happy to be able to share my experiences so that other people could kind of learn and we could take this journey together, bro.
yeah. And one of the things I always admired about you, bro, is the way you love your children.
Oh
And
man.
we don't really rock with men unless especially they have children that they find ways to make that happen. You went from one country to the next, and you making whatever sacrifice to live in Canada so you could be right down the street from your children. And you shared sometimes with me with your son today, who's now 21. But what I heard, what I didn't share with you, is that you done stabilize their emotional and mental state. Talk
100%.
about talk about why is it so important as a father to make whatever sacrifices it takes, even if your children are adults in some cases, right?
Yeah.
To be a presence for them. What do you have noticed now that you have re-entered on a not you was always on the phone talking, but
Sure,
like
sure,
you
sure.
physically knew, nah, I need to be like a physical presence in their life all the time as a regular thing. What has made a shift in their world now that you
Mhm.
made that shift to get in their world?
The first thing I had to do, not to beat a dead horse, is I had to, I'm gonna sort me out first. So
Hmm.
even though I'm always been present, I've always been around, traveled all around the world to make sure my kids are there. But in this particular phase of my life, when it comes to the emotional stability that they need, a lot of that comes from me, myself, taking a serious approach to my own emotional and psychological stability and
Wow.
going through the process of actually centering myself. So now my vision, my desire, everything that I do comes from my connection I have with God, and so that's the centering to begin with. So
Mm.
when it as it relates to my kids, you know, the stability that I've received that I kind of have for myself, they're obviously going to be a byproduct of that. I remember being in Bermuda and trying to co-parent from a distance. You'll be amazed, no matter how much I would think that I'm calling every day, that I'm traveling every other month, that I'm trying to keep in contact with their mom, my ex-wife, just to make sure they're cool. Nothing. And I used to bang my head against the wall. I'm like, man, why I'm still feeling this separation? And I thought I was doing everything I could. It's only when I that when I said, all right, man, I'm gonna sacrifice. Because it's not isn't at the end of the day, you have one opportunity to be able to raise your children. You know, one
Mm,
opportunity. So from year one when they're born up until they're 21 and become adults, those are critical times. So I had to be like, man, I need to I can do everything I want for myself. And I can be as ambitious as I want for myself,
mm.
but I had to make a conscious decision, say, man, listen, I gotta move back and be 50 minutes in close proximity to my children because that stability is critical to her. And I'm seeing those fruits. I'm seeing my son now coming to me today, say, yeah, dad, you know, I think I'm ready to go back to school. I want to do long jump. It's calling me randomly just to check in on me to see how I'm doing. And
Mm,
that used to be something that used to trip me up. I'm like, you know, how come there's no, it seems like there's this disconnect. And now we just vibe on a whole different level. My daughter's the same thing. You know, she just randomly just reaches out. And I know for
mm.
some people, for you, even especially as a father who has your kids, and that's you probably are thinking that kind of happens all the time. But the reality is when you're co-parenting from a distance and there's a lot of distance. If you know
Mm.
teenagers are very, very selfish in a lot of ways and they want what they want. But for my kids to be like, all right, let me just check on my daddy. See, let me just make
Mm.
sure he's all right. It's down. You sure, daddy, can you bring me lunch? My daughter the other day, daddy, can you go to Tim Hortons and bring me lunch? And I'm like,
Shout out to Tim Hortons. Real Canadian. Real Canadian. Only Canada knows about Tim Hortons, man.
yeah. So my point is, just being in close proximity creates a level of peace for them, a level of stability, because now they see that my mom ain't got to do everything. And I did
Mm.
a lot, even from a distance. And even when I'm traveling 3, 4 times, 5 times a year, or whatever, just to see them, they know that, all right, I'm in the building. You can take a back seat. You can rest. I'm got this. Fully running around and all of that. I'm data's in the building. Like I'm got this. And that's important for children to see that because mama's always going to get the kudos. Mama's always going to get, and not just in my area, you know, the moms always get that okay, this mama's got it. If you heard any acceptance speech of any of public figures, any the first person they think is that they think that is their mom. Dads
Yeah.
often get not thrown to the side, but they don't get highlighted as much. So I knew for me, I wanted to make sure that if my children give an acceptance speech, they're thinking about mama and daddy. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
if you look at the recent like first round draft picks, Tiger Woods,
Yeah,
the Williams sisters, Floyd Mayweather, the Michael Jordans, like these people like recognize their dads. They're like,
sure,
look,
sure,
man, my
sure.
dad, like mom can do her part, but they're like my dad had a plan. He pushed the envelope, like, he
Mm-hmm,
applied a little
mm-hmm,
pressure, like, and I'm now I didn't like him at the time, but now I'm really, really grateful for
yeah,
the work he made me put in because now I'm reaping the benefits of it. And now I can see the difference that I am at this stage of my life compared to my social peers.
sure,
And I know that's
sure.
the case for me. And I know, man, you said something powerful. I think two things. One, how their emotional and spiritual and socially emotional stability is because of you had to go get your own.
Yeah.
And I think we just assume that
Mm,
guys are in a good space, that guys are in a healthy space. And sometimes being present is actually counterproductive because you're more volatile and you're more inconsistent and you're more cold-blooded and you're more
reactive. Yeah.
stern. Like because you haven't dealt with your own healing, you know what I
Sure.
mean? With your own solitude. And so I think what you pulled out there, bro, like that was huge. I think that's huge. And then I think going back of being grateful and being thankful of the small things you said, because I was adopted, bro, I was
Mhm.
always like, when I become a dad, I'm gonna be like this. When I become a dad, I'm gonna be like this. And one of the things I said was before, before I was in high school, college, I was like, man, my children. Now, when I got to high school, I really felt it. I was raised in the same room my whole life,
Yeah.
from being adopted at 3 months to graduating at 18. I was in the same room my whole life. And so I was like, when I have children, I'm going to cut the umbilical cord and I'm going to salute them at high school graduation. and they're going to have their dad in their life their entire lives. They're
Yeah.
literally not going to know any other man living in their house besides their dad.
Right.
And I'm 2 years away from my daughter, and I'm 4 years
Mhm.
away from my son, fulfilling that 18-year commitment that I wanted that to be their experience. Now, the conversation that needs to be had between amongst men is how hard that's going to be.
Oh
Because
man.
that part I didn't know. That part of their mother having free will, lifing, like those two things I was not prepared for. I just shouldered it because I had a big picture in mind. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
one thing we want to share with men is somebody in the house got to always see the big picture.
Yeah.
Always, me and Chizzy, when we have conflict and when he came to the other side, right? I asked him a question. I mean, I'm asking you this question. As any man who's making decisions for his family, are you trying to be right?
Right.
Or are you trying to be righteous?
Sure.
Because logically, you're right. Situationally, you're right. Fundamentally, you're right. But it's going to cost you if you decide to make that right decision.
And I can tell you with a certainty, my desire to be right up until a certain point, like you
Mm,
said, justifiably so, was a lot of reasons why things went left. And
mm,
that's crazy. That's a crazy conundrum, right? So you're like, I'm right, I'm justified, I have every right to do and be the way that I am based on these
legally, you're
external
right. Like
variables.
all that.
All of that, you're right. But like you said, it doesn't right. Being right doesn't necessarily lead you to the best outcome. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like you said,
Exactly.
being righteous means that, all right, you take that selfishness away and you look at it selflessly and say, hey, I can very well be right. But at the end of the day, I don't want to be right. I want to make sure that I do what's right spiritually and righteously so that the message that's being sent is all right, big picture, big picture, big picture, big picture. And
Mm,
this is the lesson. So even as it relates to small things, like and I'm just gonna share something real quick, either as it relates to like Valentine's Day and Christmas days and birthdays, I still do demonstrate to my kids, we're not together, but this is how you celebrate your mother. What you want to do for Christmas, what you want to do for Valentine's Day, what you want to buy, how you want to celebrate your mom. Because make no mistake about it, I can never replace a mother. And all
mm,
the kudos and everything that she needs, I will never take away from what she's
mm,
done, how she's raised. And I know I'm not the only man that feels this way. But what the difference with me is I can recognize the benefit to celebrating her, even though we're not together, even though she might act crazy sometimes, because at the end of the day, like you said, I'm looking at the bigger picture. What message am I going to send to my children? What message am I going to send to her? What message am I sending? Because God asked me to send it. It says, no matter what, you have to take the higher road on almost all these situations and twice on Sunday so that you're making an investment into not only your ex's future but your children's future as well. You know what I'm
mm.
saying? So
Yeah. And again, that's why we got to have these conversations because guys, I think some guys are thinking, and I think because I had my dad, like my dad was so matter of fact. I hear the women gossip about, and I know some of you guys not going to get this, but the young and the restless and all my children and what's going on at church and what's going on in the neighborhood. And my dad was like, get to work, get things done, moving the family here. We're not doing this, we're doing that. And he was all about the family. Like I'm making decisions for what's best for the family. I'm making decisions what's needed for the family. And I got a chance to see that. I got a chance to see that day in and day out. And so for me, it was like, I just wish my dad would have told me how hard it was.
yeah.
So that I can bear it better. Not that it
Mhm.
probably would have changed anything, but it could bear. But I did have this, and I don't know if I shared it in one of our episodes, but I was struggling to mentally say, you know what? I don't know if I can do this. I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
I was broke. I was young, married, young with a baby. And I was like, yeah, I didn't sign up for all of this, bro. Like I didn't sign up for catching the bus and carrying 2 bags of groceries up the hill. So I don't have a lot of relationships in Bermuda. I'm only a couple of years there. I called back home to my dad. I'm not too far removed from like being home. I'm only a year or two away from that's my home, that's my hometown. I know they got a free place to live. I was like, look, I mean, I can go there, take a break, and start over. Like, focus on playing pro ball, getting an agent. And so I called my dad, and I was kind of like telling him all of my troubles and telling him all the challenges. And then I don't know exactly how I phrased it, but I got to the point, and he said, "Son," and short, quick, direct words. He said, when you married that woman, you made all your decisions for life. And when you had that child, you made all your decisions for life. So we ain't like the decision has been made. You just gotta ask yourself what you gotta do.
Yeah.
And when I talk to a lot of men, especially men who don't even have a father, but when a man have that low moment of thinking about compromising, quitting, um, being selfish, when you called whoever you called, when you vented to whoever you vented to, like, how did they redirect you? Because I know for me, two times I got redirected by my dad. So then I went to Uncle Ryan, went to Brunson, Chizzy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Brunson was at the homestead in Bermuda in Southampton, and I'm venting my frustration like, man, I got to go to the laundromat 5 o'clock in the morning with 30 gallon trash bags to do multiple rounds of laundry right before I go to work, only to bring those back on a bike, then go to work in a suit, and then push my daughter downhill to the babysitter. Like, I'm like, yo, we're living check to check, just getting by, right?
Mhm.
I'm going on some type of rant. Uncle Ryan looks at me as like, it's called being a father. It's like it's called being a adult. Like he was just like, bro, like, what are you talking about?
You was expecting the pity party?
Bro, I was like, he gotta catch the alley oop. Like he gotta like catch that and be like, no, look. You know what I'm saying? Uncle Ryan looked at me like he really dissed me too. He was just like, it's
Like,
called
what are
being
you
a
talking
father.
about, bro?
It's called being an adult. And to his point, Chizzy, I'm 24, 25,
Yeah.
newly married, just became a father. I wasn't used to what real adults manage. I was used to a college kid who hooping, who
Right.
got his boo, who got his girl. I'm not used to like carrying responsibilities of
Yeah.
human beings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that was like a lot for me in my mid 20s. I was struggling. I say
Mhm.
all that to say to connect why we developed King Kong. You're talking about men who's been in these trenches doing this work for over 15 to 20 years of
That's
managing and helping other adults in some form of, and they got to a point of maturity, got to a point of understanding, got to a point of a healthy perspective to now share that with others, man. What are you so excited to share with people? I'm at the King Con.
I'm sure I'm excited to share that the we undervalue the association of like-minded individuals.
Mm,
And as we know, all men have a desire to be around individuals who are like-minded. It just comes down to what type of circle you're trying to put yourself in. You know what I
mm,
mean? So I'm excited to be able to share that and just dismantle this whole, I'm big and bad and I don't hurt and I can't call on somebody to check me. Like when I was listening to you talk, it reminded me of the numerous times I even reach out to my aunt daddy. I'm like, yo, similarly, going through hell, feeling like I'm justified. Like I'm in my mind, I'm thinking I'm doing everything that I can, and I'm a superhero without a cape. Why I'm still getting all the heat? Why I'm getting all this? Why I'm not getting the respect?
mm.
Similarly, it's just like, bruh, he gave me that WWJD type of response. Like, what do you think this is about? And so
Yeah.
I'm saying all that to say that grounding, even though you don't want to hear it, that grounding no resonates with me more. It's almost like you look for that. I yearn for that. Because of course, make no mistake about it, we're not sitting here saying that we have all the answers and we'll figure it
No,
all out.
sir.
And that we
No, sir.
never have moments where the people in our lives act foolish and push our buttons and get triggers. But what we do have now is a collective of men, not just
Mm,
my dad, not just probably your dad, but a collective of men from the prayer line and everybody else in our current circle that can say, look, bruh, like I'm got you sort of thing. No, you're
mm,
bugging. We're here. We can support you in this regard, man. So I'm excited for other people to now have that experience, the experience that I had, the experience you had, the experience that most of the brothers that we know who and all we associate with have had that allows them to just take all of the things that they show that every day and know that there are people in their immediate circle that's a phone call away, that's a conference away, that's family, extended family they can call on and say, hey man, I'm got you. We're gonna figure this thing out. God
Mm,
first, and we're gonna figure this thing out with the proper direction. So I think it's important to remember there's a direction, and you can always try to world your way into solving a problem. But when you have the proper direction from spiritual, godly men that say, this is what the word of God says. This is how you should be held accountable. This is how you should conduct yourself. This is how you can sow seeds for your family. But it's going to require you to humble yourself. That's the part that I'm excited about having because a lot of brothers do not have that. And I just want to be able to share that with whoever attends. Like I say, a 101 million, whoever attends, I'm excited to be able to just share that because I know how it's benefited me. I know how it's benefited you. I know how it benefits other brothers in our circle. And I'm just super, super, super excited to be able to show that to everybody else.
and I'm super excited because this event is not just for you, but bring a friend and bring a few, right? Because you know the breakthroughs that happen, the
Yeah.
ahas that happen, the understanding that happens. I'm safe to say how we do it, you won't get it anywhere else. So if you either are a man or you with a man as a woman, or you're a brother and there's a friend that there's some things that you guys are not connecting or you're concerned about, or you have a business partner that y'all want to take y'all and venture to the next level,
Yeah.
or you have a relationship and you want to improve it. Like whatever you have as a man or as a woman, and you want to get a better, solid understanding and empowerment and tools and tips, how men move and shake and what they need to develop the best version of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
This is the event that you want to be at. So you don't want to come alone. You
Yeah.
want to bring somebody with you. Chitty, talk about the importance of them bringing somebody with them.
Jeez. It's the isolation piece. So it's one thing to get it because you're gonna walk through the door. If you don't bring somebody with you, you're gonna walk through the door. You're gonna have an amazing experience. You may make some connections with some brothers, but the importance of bringing somebody with you is that when you have a shared experience with somebody, now it's almost like you're splintering and you're actually making that unified experience more pervasive when you take it back to your wider communities. I mean, you take it back to their family members. And it's just one of those things that require the two individuals to really, really just spread the word and build a community. We're building capacity,
Mm,
the capacity that we all need because once we leave the room, you're gonna have a yearning to be in that space. You're gonna have a yearning to say, all right, what's next? How do I harness this energy? Where do I go? How can I keep this thing going? And
mm,
you can, I think you'll be, it would benefit you to bring an additional person, an additional two people, an additional three persons. So now you start to build your own network of people who can hold you accountable. And you now start to shift your mindset and how you look at things to like, all right, I now have a community that I can kind of pull from when I need these and I need some resources. So bring a friend, bring two friends, bring five friends.
mm. I love it, man. And Chizzy, man, as we get ready to wrap this
Yeah.
episode up, man, tell the people how they can get more information about you and what you got going on.
I mean, you can hit me up on Instagram, Chizzy BDA, on the couch. I'm also on Facebook. I'm on TikTok. I don't even remember all of those letters and numbers that are there, but I'm on Che,
At
whatever
some point, he
TikTok.
will. At some
At
point, the
some point,
goal
I
is,
will. But yeah,
yeah,
you could be a boy man king as well. You can catch us. We air episodes every other Monday. We do lives every week. We're
yeah,
out here, man. We're very available. I want everybody to subscribe to myself at Chizzy BDA on Instagram. Also on Facebook, if you're into Facebook, we're talking to a different generation. Some of the younger kids don't really deal in Facebook, but the Facebook is still a thing and it's still a
yeah,
great resource. So yeah,
yeah.
man, that's where they can find me. What talk about yourself, man? Where can we find the King Coach? Where aren't you? Is the question we should be asking.
Yeah, so the King Coach on all platforms, and then the Boy Man King talk on Instagram. Boy Man King podcast on YouTube, man. Make sure you like and subscribe and share. Really appreciate it. We got any value from it, man, just let us know. Slide on DMs. Also send an email. And register now for thekingconference.com. You want to register for the King
Don't want
Conference.
to miss
It is
it.
going down April 20th in Atlanta. Bring a friend, bring some family, bring whoever you need to bring so that you guys can have a phenomenal experience at the King Conference, hosted by the Boy Man King podcast with your boy Coach Crump and my right hand man, 100 grand
Yes,
Chizzy.
sir.
But we
Yes,
love
sir.
to say the journey continues.
Continue this.
And
Peace.
y'all be blessed. We appreciate you, man. Until next time.
Love.
Out.
Love.
All right, fam.